Good evening, viewers, and very welcome to our Christmas special. Now, I realize that all of you might not celebrate Christmas, but I hope that you will at least join us tonight in celebrating the end of the year and have a nice little evening with us. I have prepared a number of segments for you tonight. We are going to take a look back at 2019, the year that's passed. We're going to have ourselves a little competition where you have a chance of winning a Capture 2019 version upgrade or a Capture 2020 upgrade. I'm also going to give you, as I've promised, a couple of teasers of Capture 2020. We're not going to be doing any questions tonight, so I will not be answering any questions at the end of the video, so save all your energy for the competition. So let's get straight to it and start by taking a look at the most important event of this year, which was of course the release of Capture 2019. When you only release one version per year, then you put all your energy into that release, so obviously it was quite important for us. We released Capture 2019 back the 26th of March this year, and it contained a number of new features and improvements, and I thought we would take some time and go through the highlights and take a look at them. In the event that you haven't had a chance to upgrade to 2019 yet, although most have, or simply to refresh our memory of what's happened. So I have a few screenshots that we should take a look at, or images rather, if we can bring them in. So with 2019, we spent a lot of time on improving the user interface in general and how you organize your workspace in particular. We introduced the floating tool panes that you can position as you want on the monitor or other monitors for that matter. And with that, Capture also started remembering the position of views in general. I know a number of users who like to organize their workspace meticulously, and they will place windows on different monitors, and it's a great convenience when you reopen the same project file and everything appears just where you left it. We also introduced the new wide workspace view, where you have the project window on the right-hand side and the alpha, beta, and gamma views on the other 2/3 of the view. This is particularly useful on a higher resolution monitor like a 4K. Or an ultra-wide, for instance. So some really nice improvements to the workspace. We also made some Mac-oriented improvements. We added support for the Mac OS dark mode. Dark mode is a Mac OS feature that needs to be explicitly supported by the applications in order to make use of them. Unfortunately, Windows dark mode does not support desktop applications, so we have not been able to do the same thing there yet, but we would quite like to do so one day. We also improved the support for the built-in Mac trackpad, both the built-in one in the laptops as well as the standalone Magic trackpad. And we also improved the drivers or the support for the 3D connection 3D mouses. Moving on to the paperwork and data-oriented section, we improved support of imperial units, that is feet and inches. This is quite important when importing and exporting data from Capture, especially if it contains fixture positions, to get those coordinates right, of course. We also introduced the fixture purpose property, which was added to the fixture list as well as data import and export. and we also added omnidirectional fixtures to data import and export. The control pane received a major overhaul. In particular, we made improvements in two fields. One was by splitting the panes or swim lanes per fixture type. It is less confusing to control fixtures because previously they were all in the same column and all of the parameters of all of the fixture types were well in the same in the view at the same time. So now it's much easier to distinguish which features are in which fixtures. We also improved the color picker of the control pane, which now works a lot better with many different types of LED fixtures and, well, primarily LED fixtures, but all color mixing fixtures really. In terms of paperwork, we also made several enhancements. For instance, we added the trim height of trusses, we added XYZ coordinates of rigging points, and we also added a number of plot styling options that would allow you to better specify the dimensions of various plot elements such as arrows and text sizes. Finally, in the visualization department, we made some nice performance improvements where users could experience a frame rate increase of a factor 2 to 3. We also introduced a new white balancing concept that allows you to define the white point of the visualization. And that is, of course, particularly useful and important for TV use. And finally, we cleaned up the way layers behave and the way lighting behaves with shadows and such. Previously, this did not follow the layer visibility, but as of Capture 2019, when you turn on and off layers, all the lighting follows as you would expect. So on the whole of it, there were many nice improvements in Capture 2019, and this was first shown during the ProLight & Sound show in Frankfurt. Now, ProLight & Sound is the only show where we have our own stand, but of course we also attend many other trade shows as visitors or as support for our local resellers. And in fact, Vangelis just came back from Las Vegas, where he visited LDI, and he has sent us a greeting. Now, pay close attention as we roll the movie, because this also kicks off the competition of the evening. So let's take a look at Vangelis' greeting from LDI in Las Vegas.
Hello Göteborg, this is Las Vegas calling, right here from the LDI trade show. You haven't met me in another exhibition. My name is Vangelis Manolis, I'm the sales director of Capture. I would like to wish you all Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Thank you for all of your support throughout the entire year. You have made Capture 2019 a success. So let's wrap it up with the competition. The competition question is the following. How many fixtures exist in that Capture project file, which is the Obsidian demo pack? We are right here at the booth of the election Obsidian in LDI. Back to you now, Lars, for the competition prizes and the rules. Thank you all and Happy New Year.
Thank you, Vangelis, for that greeting from LDI. And with that, the competition is now open, and the question was, how many fixtures are there in the LDI demo pack, in the Obsidian demo pack that was premiered at the LDI show in Vegas? How many fixtures were there? Write your guesses in the comments field next to the video, and the first person to correctly guess the number of fixture, or whoever comes closest, will be the happy winner of a Capture version upgrade. Now please, only one guess per person, and you will have some 10 to 15 minutes before we call the end to the competition and see who got closest. So, moving on, I think it is time for the first Capture 2020 teaser. When we develop Capture, we usually work along 3 different tracks. The first one is the maintenance track, where we do things that, well, basically we have to do. These are things like keeping up with the latest Windows or Mac OS versions, or the latest file formats or streaming technologies that are already in Capture but need to be updated. The second track is the innovation track. This is where we try to think of new things that haven't been done before, or new ways of solving problems. Some examples where we feel that we've innovated to some extent are when we added NDI streaming to Capture as the first visualizer on the market, or when we added the presentation files, which has been a feature with us for quite a lot of years. And finally, the third track is user requests, where we try to do at least what the users or you guys ask us for. And the teaser here now is a little bit from both here, actually. It is related to the presentations. Now, presentations in Capture work the way that if you are running on Windows, you can export a Windows presentation. And if you're running on Mac, you can export a Mac presentation. And one of the most common feature requests has been the ability to have a cross-platform presentation export. So I think you can tell where we're going by now. With Capture 2020, we will have cross-platform presentation export. That means that regardless of whether you are on Windows or Mac, you will be able to export a presentation that runs on both platforms. Now, I have a couple of screenshots I would like to show you here. The first one is from Mac OS, where I have exported a presentation file. So what you get is a zip file, and when you decompress or open that, you find 3 files inside. One of them is the app, which you would simply run to view the presentation. Another one is, well, the actual project file, and finally the presentation tool for Windows. If we take a look at the Windows screenshot, on the other hand, the contents of the zip file are the same, of course, but here you would run the exe file rather than the app. But it's as easy to use as before, but now runs on both Mac OS and Windows. So seeing how commonly this has been requested, we're quite happy to be able to deliver on this with Capture 2020. Moving on, another thing that was very important for us this year was the introduction of our new logo type. We didn't make a big deal of it at the time. We simply launched it and introduced it with Capture 2019. But I think it's worth taking a few moments to say a few things about it. So let's start by rolling the demo video reel that we made for the new logo. So our new logo was inspired by photons, wavelengths, and colors. We have the photons moving in a circular motion, and the representation also of the wavelengths and colors in the shifting of colors around the circle. The colors, the 5 colors, are in fact the 5 primary colors of the Mansell color system. This was invented or created by Professor Albert Mansell many years ago, And he was the first one to separate chroma and value and hue in 3 different dimensions, creating the foundation of what today is the HSI or HSV color mixing system. Now, he didn't use red, green, and blue as we would today. He actually used 5 colors, and these are the primary colors of our logotype: the red, yellow, green, blue, and purple. Now, we would like to believe that you like our new logotype, or you have definitely at least liked the Capture 2019 release, because most of our users have chosen to upgrade to Capture 2019. We've also gained a lot of new users, and with more users, of course, it means that we get more support. So in order to tackle this increase in support, we hired a new guy to the team early this year. This was, or is, Vasilis. Vasilis is our product specialist and the person that you will get in contact with if you email support@capture.se, as well as library and sales to some extent. So it's quite possible or even probable that you've already communicated with Vasilis at some point. He also joined us for the first time this year at the Pro Light and Sound show in Frankfurt, where some of you may even have met him. And I believe that he will join us next year again in Frankfurt if you would like to meet him. Moving on, but staying in Germany, some of you may be aware of our participation in the SGM New Talents Award. This is a competition for the young and upcoming lighting designers that allows them to take part in a competition for glory and fame, as well as some nice prizes such as capture licenses. It works by them submitting a design, and then 3 finalists were chosen between all the contestants. And these 3 finalists got to design a lighting design on the same rig for the same piece of music, and at the end they would compete with each other in the SGM showroom in Germany. Now, we've spoken about this a few times already, so I figured it was about time that we would actually show you something from the competition. So I'm happy that we will be showing you the winning lighting design by 20-year-old Niklas Weber from Essen. And as we show you this video from SGM, we will also be closing the competition. So make sure to write all of your guesses. And by the end of the video, we will be announcing the happy winner. So let's take a look at the lighting design by Niklas Weber for the SGM New Talents Award 2019. So welcome back, and I hope you enjoyed the lighting design of the winning lighting design of Niklas Weber from the SGM New Talents Award 2019. And with that, I'm also glad to announce that we have a winner in tonight's competition. The person that came closest to the right guess was Amelia Irina Simic. She guessed 48 fixtures, and the correct number of fixtures in the Obsidian demo pack was 47. So that was indeed quite well done, and I congratulate Amelie for winning a version upgrade of Capture. We will be getting back to you to see if you should have the 2019 upgrade or perhaps the Capture 2020. And again, congratulations for winning the contest. So with that, and before we call it an evening, I would like to show you also the second teaser of tonight of Capture 2020. And this is a feature that comes from the innovative track, if you remember what I spoke about before. This is a feature or a function that solves many problems at once. We have some images that I would like to show you, so if we could switch to that and go full screen as well. Thank you. So this is a feature designed to be used when focusing lights, and it starts by adding focus planes to the lighting design. Focus planes are available in the Library tab and can be dragged into the design. They represent, well, a plane, of course, and when selected, they render as a grid in the design, and when not selected, they render like the other widgets we have, such as the smoke box, the camera, or the report item. The focus plane comes into action when we enter focusing mode, when we start focusing a fixture. When we enter focus mode, any focus planes light up, and as we click to focus fixtures, you end up focusing on that plane. So it doesn't matter if something is sticking up through it or if there is a hole beneath it. So if you have, let's say, a stage floor with an orchestra pit, or if you have scenic elements on the floor which could make it difficult to focus lights, then the focus planes sort of simplifies the entire process by making it a flat surface. So whenever we click here, the light goes where we clicked on the plane. And you can also see that there is a grid on the focus plane, and this is adjustable, of course, and it gives us a visual aid when focusing, as you can see the entire focus plane in an otherwise dark room. Something else that can be difficult while focusing is if there's a lot of materials on stage. So the focus plane has a second mode where it simply turns solid white. So by default, we have this grid-like look where we can see everything through it, but we can also shift it to the solid white look that makes it easier to understand the lighting. Of course, and perhaps the most interesting part of this is the third mode, which is the so-called heat map mode. Here you get a heat map rendering that represents the illuminance on the focus plane. And this, of course, is most interesting when we have many lights on at once. So what happens here is that we have different colors representing different lux levels, and we can use this effectively to spot dark regions in the lighting design. So as you can see here, we have quite an uneven front wash in this look. It also helps us judge whether we have the same amount of lighting in different regions on stage. And of course, you can also configure the minimum and maximum lux levels that define the colors of the heat map in the heat map mode. So this is a very useful feature for lighting focusing in Capture, and we quite look forward to releasing that with Capture 2020 next year, somewhere around March, April. I'm sure there will be a lot more information about Capture 2020 available as we approach the release. Also pay attention to our social media. I'm sure there will be 1 or 2 more teasers before the release as well. So with that, I would like to thank you for watching us tonight, for watching our Christmas special, and wish you a Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year.